And we are rolling tape, as they say. My name is Stephen Carter, and I'm the group's organizer, and that group happens to be the Baltimore and Columbia Energy Healers Meetup Group. I'm the CEO as well of Stress Solutions, LLC, a company truly dedicated to helping people live healthy and joy-filled lives. You can find more about my background at EFT-MD.com, EFT-MD.com. There is an important caveat. Whether you're attending this event live, or you're watching a video replay, or you're listening to an audio replay, the techniques offered during this event are for informational purposes only. We are not here to diagnose or treat or prevent any medical or psychological condition. There are no guarantees as to the effectiveness of any technique. If you choose to apply the information you see or hear, you agree to take full, complete, and sole responsibility for your own psychological, physical, and emotional well-being. Always consult your medical doctor or appropriate licensed therapist for all issues of concern. Excuse me. When we engage in the distant healing work, I will touch very briefly on the basics. If you haven't done distant healing or it's been a few years, I suggest you watch the video replay of the distant healing event that we did in August. In August. I'll have that video linked up in the section below this video on YouTube if you're watching this replay. And so we're going to cover a couple of things. I want to give a very brief demonstration and point you to some resources for dowsing. This is not a training on how to dowse. That's a whole different training. But I do want to give you a taste of exactly how it works, to give you a demonstration, and to point you to some resources if you would choose to apply dowsing in your own work or for your own well-being or for a bunch of other things. Dowsing is a beautiful tool. It's similar to muscle testing or applied kinesiology. There are a couple of differences, but it actually will do many of the same things. You can access information with dowsing that in ways you simply can't do any other way, save applied kinesiology. So let's have a go here at a dowsing demonstration. When we are dowsing, the dowsing instrument, in this case, it's a pendulum. There are other dowsing instruments. This is really my favorite, the one I use most, which is a bobber. There are L-rods as well. The L-rods, in my experience, are a little more challenging to learn, but the bobber is good. It's easy to do, and the pendulum is likewise useful. It's easy, and once you learn it, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. So you're asking questions, or if we're using it as we would in applied kinesiology, we're actually making statements, which is what I will be doing. But most dowsers who have not taken applied kinesiology will use questions as opposed to statements, but either is fine. So the pendulum answers questions. That's what it does. Or it gives a reading as to the veracity of your statement. And you can also refine that to get a probability truth on the statement. And you can also determine whether the dowsing process just can't give you that information. It will tell you it's either maybe or I don't know or I'm not going to tell you. And we'll see how that works here in a second. So to begin, we want to calibrate. So I asked the pendulum to please show me a yes. Now, my intention is moving the pendulum. Is there physical actions through my hand to move it? Yes, of course there is. This is not some spirit moving it. It's physically being moved by me, but it's being moved by my intention, by the subconscious. So I said, please show me a yes, and it is showing me a back and forth, a 12 to 6. So now I say, please show me a no. And now the pendulum will change, and it moves over, going 9 to 3. And I'm at a slight angle here, but it is 9 to 3. So maybe, or I don't know. And that's going diagonally. So that's going to 2 to 7, 2 to 8, whatever the diagonal face on the clock is. So I want to say thank you for that. So this allows me now to connect to someone or something that I'm choosing to provide healing energy to. So there was a lady in the Quantum Touch website, Quantum Touch Facebook, who there were several requests for healing. And if you do want to practice, you can go to the Facebook site, Quantum Touch Facebook. And people are asking for healing all the time on that Facebook site. So this lady is asking, she had a colonoscopy and she had a problem. Apparently there were a lot of polyps removed and there was a lot of work that was done, so she was quite sore. And she asked for healing to get that back. So what I'm going to do to get that back to normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see if I can energetically connect with her. And if I can, is she open to me working with her energy system? And then we'll see how that works. So I'll make the statement. I'm connecting with, I'm not going to use her name, but her energy system. Yes. That lady is open for me to do healing work for her using dowsing. Yes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask the pendulum, are there any energetic blocks to her receiving healing energy? No. Clear answer, please. No. She is open, willing, and available for healing energy. Yes. Please unwind any energetic blocks to physical healing, to emotional healing in her GI tract and any related area. Now, the pendulum is going counterclockwise. And I'm just an observer for this. When it's done, it will stop. Okay. That work is complete. Showing me yes. Can we provide positive energy positive healing energy for her highest good and for physical and emotional healing. And it's going directly to do that. So now it is going clockwise. That work is as complete as it can be for at this point in time. Please show me clearly. Yes. Is there any other healing that can benefit the client? No. We are complete. Break the connection. And we're done. So that is the process. It's very simple. And we're going to talk about energetically connecting. I did some things which I didn't describe, but I will in a second here once we're getting into the surrogate healing. So I'm going to open the audio to see if anyone has any questions. Okay, unmute. Any questions?
Yeah, Steve, this is Norma.
Yes.
Hello. Now, that was really an interesting demonstration. I have never seen the part where the pendulum is removing dense energy and then is also adding in healing energy. And so my question is, does the pendulum always move counterclockwise for the removal of whatever is being healed, and then clockwise for the addition, or is that specific to the dowser or to the person, the client?
That's specific to the dowser.
Okay.
So, and that's most dowsers, Raymond Grace, just about all dowsers who do distant healing work, that's the protocol. Mm-hmm. So it's counterclockwise, which is unwinding mm-hmm. blocks, unwinding blocked energies, and so forth. And then the pendulum will tell you that you're done. And then it's safe, appropriate to add positive energy for the healing of that client. And sometimes it will give you a yes first, sometimes it just automatically starts.
Yeah. Well, I've used a dowsing pendulum years ago, and it's moved like that, and I had no idea what it was doing. So this was very helpful, very helpful. Thank you. I mean, I know clearly my yeses and nos and all that, but this was really, really a great addition. Thank you.
Great. Yes. So it's amazingly simple. I use pendulums, and I used the Bowser. Yeah, I use the Bowser. I use the dowsing bobber all the time. It's just, I find it just easier. And for me, it seems to be more expressive. But that's me. But the pendulum will work just fine. Now, if you'd like to learn how to dowse, probably the best free resource out there is to go to Google and put into the Google search, letter to Robin, R-O-B-I-N, letter to Robin, and then add dowsing. And there's multiple sites that you can download a free guide that was written by a dowser years ago, and it will get you started as far as the mechanics of dowsing. Dowsing can be very can be used for tons and tons and tons of different things. Can be used for finding water. It can be used for finding minerals. It can be used for healing work. It can be multiple things. As a matter of fact, If you go on to Amazon and you put in dowsing pendulum, I believe there's a book that comes up, and it's free to download to your Kindle, on ways you can use dowsing. I think that that's free. Now, I haven't downloaded it. I can't speak to it, but I did happen to notice it as I was preparing for sharing the information here. Okay. One other opportunity. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, cool. Back on mute we go. Healing, distant healing. We want to begin, well, first of all, what is distant healing? It's simply the application of energy healing methods at a distance. And a distance could be across the world, or it could be across the room. And you don't have to physically be in contact with the person or the animal or the circumstances that you are dealing with to be able to energetically influence it. That's what distant healing is. The most obvious and the most frequently used distant healing method is prayer. Prayer is a way of healing at a distance. You're sending loving energy prayers. You're asking for God's intercession to help someone for a specific illness or situation, or for their highest good. One of the requests on a website that I saw happened to be for someone's 17-year-old kitty who apparently was going into renal failure, which is quite common for cats. And she hadn't eaten, and there were some other complications. So the question is, what would I do as far as healing energy for that kitty, and for her, by the way? What I would do in that circumstance is send loving, healing energy for that kitty's highest good. Does it make sense to keep an animal alive, for example, with chemotherapy if they have cancer? Does it make sense to keep an animal alive to go through that? And there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's one of those, it depends. At 17, that kitty has led a full life, a loving life. Undoubtedly, this kitty is her best friend. So what I would do is send energy for the highest good of the kitty. And what I was getting, I was thinking actually of using that in this session, but what I was getting was a clear no. And I checked the pendulum, and it said no, don't do that. So I do want to share one of my favorite quotes here. And bear with me. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa shared this observation, quote, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." And that, for me, encapsulates why I do distant healing work, either professionally or personally. I want to make a difference, and I feel not all the time, nothing works all the time in every circumstance, nor should it. We're not God. You know, the ultimate healer is God. And sometimes healing doesn't look like healing to us, but it's beyond anything that we could understand. So to let go and let God, I think, is the wise choice. But God offers us, and God can, in whatever that means for you, God offers us the opportunities to pray, to ask for intercession, and sometimes those prayers are answered, amazingly so. Reversals in cancer and things that there's just no medical explanation as to why those occurred. So does it happen all the time? No. Can we understand that? No. So we can accept that or not, but we're wise if we do. We can accept that, and we can be an instrument of his peace, of God's love, of God's peace. And that, for me, is what this work is about, whether we're doing it in person with a client, with someone, a loved one, with a pet, or whether we're doing it through distant healing work. So I would encourage you to keep that in mind, that quote. I think it's a very powerful quote, and it encapsulates, for me, the importance of what this work is about. We are doing great things as best we can. So we want to set an intention to heal. And where does that come from? It's love. So to me, healing and love are synonymous. Let's assume that we want to heal, let's say a pet, since we were talking about a pet earlier. My intention then, I focus in on that pet. I get an image of the pet. Maybe I've never seen the pet. It doesn't matter. I get an energetic signature of what that pet is like energetically. If I have a photograph, great. But I get that connection energetically, and then I connect with that pet. And the way I do that is I take the image that I've created, and I don't question what the image is. Whatever the subconscious, superconscious brings in as far as that image, I accept that, and then I bring it down to my heart. And then I send that and connect to the heart of the animal, in this case, or the person. Then I go for the surrogate. Now, this little guy here, wave to everybody. Oh, hello, hi. This is one of the surrogates that I've used. This is the surrogate I used in the last video. And he's a veteran. He's had literally, oh Lord, hundreds of people who have worked on him. Hundreds have worked on this little guy, and a whole bunch of others. So what I do then is I connect my heart with that connection that I've got with the client, the animal, the pet, whatever that is, and then I bring that into this surrogate. This surrogate represents the distant healing client, the person, the animal, circumstance that I'm working on at a distance. And I will work in the areas that I'm guided to work in. If I know, for example, someone has a shoulder issue, then I cup the shoulder, front, back, and I send energy through that shoulder. That's a classic quantum touch sandwich. You're sandwiching the area of discomfort. If, for example, if it's a GI issue, well, we work in the GI tract. I also work emotionally to help with whatever emotional issues an individual may be dealing with. And I normally go and use the brain, not because that necessarily is the seat of emotion, but that's where it starts. And then we feel emotions in various parts of the body. Different emotions are felt in different areas of the body. So if I know someone is sad, for example, I'm going to go to the heart. If I know someone is angry, that's also can be in the heart area. And if I don't know, I just go in the main body and send loving energy for the overall good of the client, of the pet, or whatever that is. We don't have to have a stuffed animal as a surrogate. We can use a bottle of water. You know, that water, we're 70, 80%, whatever that percentage is of water, that water can become the surrogate, and we can work on the bottle of water. We can work on a symbol. We can draw a symbol that is representative of, for example, a set of circumstances, a company, a logo for a company, and you run energy into that symbol. Again, if it's a specific issue, you know what you're attempting to help with, but I also would go for emotions and for the highest and best good for that particular client, organization, whatever. Now, to get a sense of the energy that you have, if you rub your hands together like so, and then take the left hand out, place it out, take the right hand over the left, and now very slowly bring the right hand down, and you will very likely feel, if you don't feel it right off, just keep practicing. One of the best practitioners I ever worked with, it was months before he could actually feel energy, but you can literally, it's palpable for most of us. And when you move, it's like, for me, it's a magnetic felt sense, like two poles of a magnet. You can take the left hand and bring it over and take the right hand and run it on the back of the hand. It's a very sensitive area. And you can literally feel like a magnet on that area or on that part of your hand. You can use the fingertips. Fingertips are very good. You can bring fingertips together as a pointer and magnify the energy, which I'm feeling now is significantly higher. So I'm bringing like a focus point, like you remember as a kid, you took a magnifying glass and with the sun, and you could burn through a piece of paper simply because the magnifying glass brought that beam together into a more powerful focus beam, and that was able to actually fire or create a fire in a piece of paper. You can do the same thing here. So if you're working in the mandible of a client, for example, you can use these fingertips. Again, if someone had TMJ, what would I do? I would use fingertips on the client, on the surrogate rather, for the client. So that's kind of an overview of how to create a field. So what you want to do, just one other final point, is you're taking this energy, which is very palpable, and you're literally, that's what you're sending into your surrogate. You can feel that, literally feel that energy in the palms of your hand, and that's what you're sending to the surrogate. And because you've energetically connected you, the client, and the surrogate, the client is receiving the benefits as if there's no distance, no space. It's immediate. Time and space don't exist in this work. So that's kind of a quick overview. If you have not watched the video that we did in August, I've got that linked up in the emails that everybody received. And for those watching this on YouTube, I will put that in the notes below the video. So I'm going to open here, just bear with me. I'm going to open and ask if anyone would like to offer requests, and we will all spend time. Depending on the number of folks, we will either do it individually or as a group. So let me open here. Okay. So I'm going to go down one by one. I'll start. Carol, is there anyone or any circumstance you would like distant healing for our team? From our team.
The last time we worked, many of the people asked for help for themselves, and I'm going to ask for my back problems and also for my granddaughter.
Okay. And what about is it emotional? I mean, I don't need it, the specific details, but what are we aiming at as far as your granddaughter is concerned?
I don't want to put a diagnosis on it because I don't think there is one. She's just having a hard time focusing, and I know she's studying tonight for some exams and stuff, and we spent a lot of time running around today, and I just thought helping her to focus would be a great idea.
Okay. For focus, for brain power and focus.
That sounds good. I like that. That sounds good.
Okay. Nikki, anyone you would like to request energy for?
Yes, emotional healing.
Okay. For? Just the first name.
Oh, I'm sorry, for myself.
Okay. Okay.
I
all
thought
right.
you for detail. Okay.
No. We don't need the story.
Okay.
Connie?
Yes, I would like some healing for myself for my right foot and ankle. Some years ago, I hurt it, my right foot and ankle.
Okay.
I want to be able to run again, but because I hurt my right foot and ankle, I can't run again like I used to. I can't put too much pressure on. I can't even run on the treadmill anymore like I used to exercise. I can't do that anymore for long periods of time because it hurts.
Okay. Norma?
Hi. Yes, I'd like to make a breakthrough with the edema an edema issue that has been building in my lower legs from my blood pressure medicine. I'm also healing my right knee and from an old meniscal tear that's almost healed, so I could use some finishing touches tonight on that. But the edema is an issue that I can't quite figure out how to resolve. And the other thing that I want, you may have seen my cat Jack. My cat Jack has attended both of these sessions, February, and today voluntarily. And I didn't pick it up the last time, but he actually is very sick. He has a bad heart, which he's lived with for 6 years, and now we think he has a early stage lymphoma. And my intention, and he's already had energy healing and lots of other Western healing. My intention is to support his decisions about this, his intention for his future, whatever he wants to do. He's 10 years old, and I just want to support him as he makes his decisions.
Highest and best good.
Yes, highest and best good. That's right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Oh, Steve, you know, the last time, I don't know that we did anything for you too, and I wanted to say, do you have something that you'd like us to work on?
You know, my orientation is if I pick something up, I work on it then and there. So I'm not at all saying I have no issues. If you're alive, you have issues, right? But highest and best good would be fine. To go back, hold on here, Connie.
Yes.
Did you sustain an injury?
Yes, I did. I slipped on ice some years ago and had fractured my ankle, my feet. Then it seems like maybe 20 years later or so, it caught up with me. I can't run on the treadmill. It hurts. I had a cast a whole bit for a little while on my foot. Went through physical therapy, and now it's catching up with me. I can't run. I like to exercise. Okay, I can't run. I can't pound on the treadmill anymore like I used to. So it kind of creates a problem for me because I want to work out, exercise. If I walk outside, like I used to walk the trail outside, my feet will hurt because it's on concrete. I have to walk on something that's kind of a little bit softer. Yeah.
Okay.
I notice my feet feel hot on the bottom sometimes. My ankle bothers me sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Say this out loud. I release any and all emotional attachment to this injury and the circumstances around it.
I release any and all emotional attachments to this injury and the circumstances around
it.
Mm-hmm. And the circumstances around it.
Take a breath. Okay, check in. What do you notice? If anything at all different?
No.
Okay, that's fine. This is not a bad way to preface work as well, because very often with physical issues, there is one or more emotional issues that attach to it.
Mm-hmm.
And affirming, which is what it is, you're affirming, I'm releasing any and all emotional attachments to this circumstance, this injury, this situation. Sometimes it's very palpable. You feel a gentle or general release of like, ah. And in your case, no, and that's fine. You know, there's no right or wrong to this, but that is something that can be added when we're doing work. And for EFT, I know you said you didn't get much benefit out of the work, but you can use EFT for physical issues, but it's always a good idea, excuse me, to begin that work with dealing with any emotions around the physical issue, the injury or circumstance. And when you do that, a lot of times the physical issue, the SUDS level, the charge on it goes significantly down just with that work. again, there's no 100%, but that's very common. All right, let's, Carol, your back, we'll use a SUD scale rather than the SU scale, 0 to 10.
I'm sorry, for some reason my computer just binged. I'm sorry.
0 to 10, how strong? Where in the back specifically is it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to giggle, but today it's been mostly in my lower back, but I've had some in my upper back, and I've had occasionally something in my neck, but most of it's in my lower back, though I have issues from one all the way down to my coccyx.
Okay, for right now, when you give attention to your back, where do you feel it, and what's the charge on it?
Probably about a 5 to an 8 today.
Okay, and if so, right now as you're sitting there, if you shake, shimmy a little bit, what is it?
Oh, I know it's there. It's saying hello. It's probably closer to the 8 now.
Okay.
When I do that.
All right. Since there's just a few of us, let's go one by one rather than the pool. So Carol has got lower back pain at about a 5 or 8-ish. So if you have a little buddy, go ahead. And what we'll do is I will we'll work on Carol's back. And I would also suggest we work on, or at least briefly, offer energy for emotional release of any energy, feelings, sensations, etc., around that lower back issue as well. Okay? So let's go. We'll go 2 minutes. All right. Take a breath. I suggest you kind of stretch, give thanks for the opportunity for that work. Carol, check in. Are you still at an 8, or is it any different?
It feels.
No right or wrong. Go ahead.
I know. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying. I had the reason I'm kind of flubbing here is because the thing that surprised me the most is the great warmth that went all the way up my back into my shoulders and neck from the bottom all the way up, and a great release of energy as we were talking. So that happened, and I just feel like I can sit up straighter. My arms have relaxed more. My shoulders aren't as tense. They came down, and there's a significant difference in my back. And right now, I know it's a little bit tender when I touch it, but I'm not aware of the pain when I'm sitting here.
Okay, good. We're going to skip your granddaughter in the interest of time, because I do want to roll off as close to 8 as we
That's
can.
okay.
And I will work on your granddaughter separately.
Okay, that sounds good.
Nikki, again, we don't need the details, but generally speaking, the emotional issues, as you bring them into awareness, 0 to 10, with 0 meaning absolutely no charge and 10 is rough as you can imagine. Where are you?
8.
Okay. And how do you know it's an 8? Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your torso? How do you know?
I feel it in my stomach and my head.
Okay. Okay. So let's again connect with Nikki. Bring Nikki's heart to heart and then in to your surrogate. She feels it in her head. She feels it in her stomach. I would also suggest adding some energy to the heart area as well. And we'll go 2 minutes there, beginning now. Okay, another 5 seconds. Okay, take a breath, stretch, connect to the space around you, give thanks if you so choose for the opportunity to offer loving energy to Nikki. Nikki, would you bring to mind, however you created that 8 before, and tell me, is it still an 8? Or if it's different, what is it?
I definitely feel a difference, especially in the front of my head. It's like I felt the right side of my forehead clearing, and it's like the heaviness shifted only to like the right side, almost as if I had like just a patch over one eye now, over my left eye. So I feel lighter in my head.
Good. Okay, good. And I will continue working, and I suggest you do the same. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Connie,
Yes.
your ankle right here and now in your foot, is there discomfort?
I'm pressing down. Not right here and now. No.
Okay. Okay.
Usually I get it if I'm, well, sometimes I get it afterwards also. And my toes hurt a little bit right now.
Okay. So it's kind of hard to assess change if there's nothing to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll go ahead and send the energy to your ankle, your foot, your toes. What I'm getting is the toes have to do with shoes, but that may or may not be the case. Okay. So
Excuse me, which ankle and foot, Connie?
yeah, it's
My right one.
Thank
right
you.
one. I'm sorry. I did capture that, but didn't mention it. It's on the right. Okay. We're going to be a couple of minutes past 8. Hopefully everybody can stay with us. Okay. So let's go 2 minutes for Connie's right ankle, right foot. And stretch, breathe. You may choose to give thanks to your higher source. Connie, what did you notice, if anything? Since there's no measurable pain,
Mm-hmm.
there's not going to be a measurement of SUDS, but what did you notice, if anything?
I could actually feel some energy, something going on in here.
Okay.
You could feel something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All the way up my calf, believe it or not.
Okay.
It's really my ankle and my foot and my toes.
All right. Very, very cool.
Steve?
Yes.
I couldn't hear what Connie said. She noticed something that went up to her knee.
She felt energy in her calf, ankle, feet, toes.
Mm-hmm.
She could feel the energy flowing there.
Thank you.
Okay. Norma, what I would like to do is work with your issue in the interest of time.
Sure.
And then I will come to your kitty. What's your kitty's name, by the way?
His name is Jack, and the organs you can focus on, Steve, are his heart and his liver.
Okay.
And those are the roots of the situation.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Edna, is there any felt sense? Excuse me.
For me, for Norma?
Yes.
Sorry. just a feeling of real thickness in both of my legs. They look like they're kind of square, and they don't hurt right now. In fact, actually, since we've been doing this, any hurt that I had in that knee and leg disappeared within about the first 15 minutes because we are all so powerful.
Right.
But it's a thickness, and you can clearly see the edema in my legs if you were to look at them. They're pretty swollen,
Okay.
and it's purely from the amlodipine mesylate, from the blood pressure medicine.
Okay. Are you using any acupressure points to help with those?
No, I haven't. I've been trying to figure out how to treat it, and it's been suggested that I get a lymphedema massage. Someone suggested myofascial massage or relief. Just lots of different things. My chiropractor is big on the lymphedema massage, and I haven't had anything yet. I've just been lifting my legs, lifting my legs, trying to move them, which is what a nurse told me to do. Like because they say it's the veins that don't push
Right.
the blood back up.
Right.
And I'm very frustrated. I mean, my weight, everything, I'm just very frustrated. And, there's definitely a physical manifestation, probably of mental, emotional issues here I'm dealing with, but it's like the one last hurdle to get over.
Are you familiar with the Ho'oponopono?
Yes.
Okay. I would
Yes.
suggest that you apply that work
Okay.
to the issue and
Okay.
emotion as well as the physical
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just have to refresh it because I read the whole book and everything, and I was doing it for a while, but I can refresh it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go 2 minutes, legs, edema.
And, I have a question. Can I treat myself along with everybody else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, good question.
This is my surrogate, my bottle
Yeah,
of water.
that's fine. Can you treat yourself with a surrogate? Yes. Yes, you can. It's pretty hard to work on your own back,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, that's right.
So, yes, you literally are connecting your own energy field. You're connecting heart to heart with the surrogate. The energy, that surrogate becomes you, and you work in whatever area on the surrogate that you are having the problem with. That's absolutely. Okay. And I would also ask a few moments of emotional work also for Norma, because as she expressed, she's very frustrated. And when that's an attachment. You're attaching an emotion to that. So this would be a good time to say,
Yeah.
I choose to release any and all emotional attachments to this issue. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So yes, go ahead.
Do we need to cut the bonds between the last person we worked on before we start on Norma?
Yeah, it's a good idea to do it, but with what we're doing here, that's not a big deal. But yeah, if you just take the hand and go whoosh right in front of you, cut that energetic connection. But we are all in this healing circle. So I have no problem with leaving all of those energies together in the circle. At the end, then I will sever. Okay. Okay, 5 seconds. All right. Take a breath. Stretch.
Thank you.
Yawn. Norma, I'd like to check in with
Yes.
you. We really didn't have a starting SUD.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
actually,
sure. Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, I definitely felt something in my right. It was very subtle in my right leg. It was like little tiny fingers of energy were going all around my right leg in particular, and I'm sure they were impacting my left leg too. But it felt very nice.
Good. I would suggest, we mentioned the emotions. doing the emotional work. And I'm not asking you to comment on this one way or the other. I'm just offering this as an observation. I got a sense of heavy sadness. Obviously, there's frustration, but so my
Yes.
point being is I would do an equal amount of work on emotions around the issue, the physical issue, as well as the physical issue that you're experiencing.
And I do. I believe firmly that a lot of the physical conditions we experience are a densification of mental and emotional issues, at least in my case, for sure.
Right.
So
Right.
I always work on all the levels. Absolutely. So thank you for reinforcing that, Steve.
Yes. All right. Well, I will open any questions, and thanks to everyone. Everyone did experience the energy flow from the team here, the Healing Circle. That's great. Any questions or observations anyone would like to make before we close out? Going once?
Quick question, real quick question.
Sure.
When we were acting as, healing someone and acting as a surrogate, and you said, connect to their heart and then drop it into the surrogate. I just want to make sure I was doing this correctly. And then with the surrogate, you would touch that part of the body that you deemed that part of the body, and just touch it and run healing into it.
Right. Right.
Is that correct? I just want to make sure. Right.
You can't do this wrong.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because what's most important is your intent. You're intending to facilitate an improvement, a healing, a change for the better in the person or animal or circumstance. And by the way, we can do distant healing. I've led distant healing for countries in the wake of disasters to facilitate the recovery for the land devastated by hurricanes and tornadoes. You can, again, healing energy, love, LOVE, you're sending, you're capturing and intensifying the love that you are choosing to connect to in your body, in your energy system, and then flowing that to the person, the animal, the circumstance, wherever you're choosing to serve, to send that for the purpose of their highest good, for the purpose of healing, for the purpose of optimum health, emotional well-being. It's another form of prayer, but in my experience, now I'm not talking for God. God knows what the answers are. I don't. But this to me is another way or other ways of offering prayers. And I think we can be more intense with this kind of focus than if we're just using our typical prayer that we may mouth out loud, but typically in our mind. If you think about prayers that you've sent for others, generally speaking, and I'll speak for myself, there's not a lot of a lot of energy. There may be some, and there's always heartfelt intent. But what this does, it ramps the energy field up, that in my experience, you're actually getting more of it out. You're influencing the overall Gaia, the overall field between you and the person that you're dealing with, or the animal or circumstance, or the entire human race, or the entire energy system of the planet. You're infusing more of your intent when you are using energy healing versus prayer. Add prayer to it, absolutely. But this, to me, takes it up a level or two.
I have a quick question.
Sure. Go ahead, Nikki.
Would you say, Steve, that the energy healing is removing the blockages that are preventing the healing from being absorbed?
Yes. That's step one.
Prayer?
Yes, that's part of it. You remember the little demo we did, or I did with the pendulum, right? I unwound the blocks. That was my intent. The pendulum isn't doing anything. The pendulum is acting through, or it's carrying my intent, focusing my intent on the person that I'm aiming it toward, or at, or with, to help. And so it's unwinding the blocks. Now, is it going to get it all? Would there be more? Yeah, there probably will be. But for right now, and I did ask, I said, is this all that we can do right now? And it may take some time for that work to be beneficial. But yes, you're unwinding, you're removing the blocks to healing, and then you're offering healing energy, love in its place. In medical Qigong, what you do, and that's a little more illustrative, I think, to your question, is you take your sword fingers and you literally are breaking up the energy blocks in the body. Literally in the energy field, you're breaking it up. You remove it like so, as if you're taking the stuck, the damage, the energy blocks, whatever, and literally moving those out. And then you add fresh, positive chi to that area that you just treated. Now, is this actually happening? I have no idea. But it's a way for me and those who practice Chinese medicine, Qigong, medical Qigong, to focus their intent to do that work. And this is another technique that I will use with myself and with clients. And you can do it with surrogates as well. You're simply literally imagining, creating the energy coming out of the sword fingers, breaking it up, pulling it out, and then adding new energy in its place. Answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Makes sense.
Okay. Thank you all for participating. We're about 20 minutes long. Any final questions before we ring off? Okay. Thanks to everybody. I do appreciate your attending and your magic works. Everybody experienced the work. So thank you very much. And I will probably put this out on YouTube. We may have people, your images, is there anyone who opposes, and Carol, I don't have you on camera. Is there anyone who opposes having their image out on YouTube? Please, no? We're okay? Everybody's okay? Thanks, blessings to all.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye-bye.
blessings to you, Steve, too, for doing this for us.
Thank
Yes.
you. All right, bye-bye.